Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of my memory box tutorial. So hopefully now you've all had a chance to watch the box itself being built and had a go yourself. So this is carrying on with my collaboration with Intercraft, who kindly gave me the new Amazonia papers from Stamperia to recreate this for you. So you might have seen the walkthrough of my original one, which was made with a mechanical SeaWorld. So I'm going to show you a different one. So we're going to start off with our first wallet. And this one is just a nice big wallet with a closure, which opens up. And we've got a nice deep pocket. So this one will be good for your mementos, any leaflets, anything from the trips, or drawings by a child, anything that's a little bit bigger than your photos. So this one hasn't got the photo mats like the rest of them have. But the reason I've got this nice big one is, with the Stamperia, you've often got these nice large images. So as you can see with this one, we've got this tiger. So I wanted to keep the tiger as much as I could. So that's why we've got that nice large front, so we can do that. So for this photo wallet, I'm going to use one sheet of my 12 by 12. And actually, I'm not going to use all this. I'm going to be cutting down this bit. So I'll still have that or the reverse to use for something else. And 2 pieces of A4 cardstock. So I'm going to start with the cutting. So I just open my trimmer. And as I said for this tutorial, what I'm going to be using is just some basic supplies. My trimmer, a scoreboard, some thread, circle punches, and my corner punch. So there's no special dies or equipment or anything needed, just basics. So I'm going to start off with my A4 cardstock, and I'm going to cut this at 9 inches. So this needs to be 8 1/4, which A4 already is. So I don't need to do any more than that. But if you've got a different size, if you're using 12 by 12 paper, it's 9 inches and then 8 1/4. So I'm going to put that aside. So this leftover piece, that's good then for cutting out your circles and stuff for your closures later on. And the second piece is going to be cut at 10 inches. By 5 1/2. And that's all my cutting done. So nothing too difficult. Now I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Let me pick up the pieces first. Okay, so with the largest piece, I've got a 9-inch side, but I don't want that. I want my 8 1/4 along the top. And I'm going to be scoring at 6 1/2. So this will be my wallet and this is my flap. And you find 6 1/2 and 4 1/2 are going to appear quite a bit because that's the size I like to use. So then for my 6 by 4 photo, I have a 6 1/4 inch mat. So then the base then needs to be 6 1/2. So 6 1/2 and 4 1/2 were the measurements I worked with to make all my wallets. And then with my long rectangle, my 10-inch long one, I'm going to score at 1/2 and at 9 1/2, or you can just turn it around and do 1/2 again, and 1/2 inch down one long one. So just like we do with our album pockets. Okay, so it's 1/2 inch down, 1/2 inch there, and 1/2 inch along the bottom. And that's all the scoring done. So again, the measurements so far have been really, really easy. Okay, so we have our 2 pieces. So this is now got that nice score line there. So we're going to turn over and fold it from the middle out. Got my Teflon tool from the Cool Cats, which I love because it doesn't mark my black. So I fold it over my flap. And with my pocket, I'm actually going to add my tape in between the edge and the 1/2 inch mark. So I'm just going in between those two 1/2 inch score lines. I don't need to go into that square. I'm just going to burnish it down. Okay, so there's my pocket taped up. Just going to grab my scissors. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut from the side towards that score line. So I'm just mitering the corner, and see if I turn it over for the other one to show you. And then with these bottom corners, we've got that cross where the score lines meet. What I'm going to do is cut at a 45-degree angle towards that cross, and rather than go straight across, I'm just going to angle it slightly to my left, and you can see it's just a slight sharper cut. That just means when I come to fold it later on, those sides will definitely not meet and cause bulk in my corner. So I've done the same on the other one. Just throw those bits away. And now I can just fold these backwards and give them a really good burnish. We want to get this pocket nice and flat. And start in the middle and work out. Yeah. Okay, so that's my pocket, that's my main base. But before I put it all together, what I'm going to do is use my corner rounder. So I'm going to use my largest one onto the black. And then when I come to use the papers, what I'll do, I'll go down to my medium one. Ooh, drop my camera. Just put it back in place. What I'm going to do, let me just get it all back in order. There we are. And so when I come to do my paper, I'll use my medium one instead. So that'll give me a nice matte layer. So now I'm just going to take off the tape and turn it upside down, and I'm going to line up those corners with my base. And the same then with the two sides. That's my large pocket with a flap ready made. So the corners are totally optional. You don't have to do them, but I think it just finishes it off. And most of us have got corner rounders as it is. So let's bring back my trimmer and my paper. So my paper needs to be cut just 1/4 inch shorter than my wallet. So my wallet is 9 inches wide. So my my paper is going to be 8 3/4. Which for this paper was perfect because I've actually managed to keep all that text. So that's going to be really nice for my lid. So let's do that flap first. And that will be cut at, it's 1 3/4 wide. So 1/4 inch less will be 1 1/2. Okay. And what I'll do while I remember is bring in my corner rounder and just round off the bottom two pieces. So we've got our layer for the top flap. Then my pocket is 5 inches. I have to turn it around this way. So let's have a look how much. So I'm not going to get him into the pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off another 1.5, because I will need another 1.5 inch for the back of my flap. So I've got 1.5 inches there. So that's going to be on the back of my thing. That's just for me to keep my tiger as complete as I can. So it's going to be 4 3/4. So he's still a little bit short. So I'm going to trim off just a little bit more, because I really want to keep him as full as I can. So he's going to be my centerpiece there. And then this waist piece is not actually a waist, it's actually going to go on the inside here. It's a bit long like that, so I need it to be about 2 inches or more. It doesn't have to be a precise length, you just need it to be, let's have a look. I'm going to have that, so it'd be nice to keep that going down the side. So let me have this bit. So it's 2 1/4. As long as we have that overlap, I'm going to go 2.5. So you can see just how I'm working my papers, just to get the most out of them. So this will be the back of my top flap. So I'm going to cut off the tops this time. Didn't get in quite right there. There we are. So now I've got my fronts and my insides. So let's just get my black soot distressing, just to take away that raw edge. And the tiger, you can see why I wanted to keep him as he was. And then, he's not a tiger, is he? I keep calling him tiger, he's a leopard. Obviously it's leopard print, isn't it? There's that one, and just this bit here. I don't need to do the bottom because that'll be tucked inside my pouch. There we go. Just put the lid on that before I get it everywhere. So I'm just going to grab my glue, and let's start just by getting the inside done. So you'll see how, by using those 2 different corner rounders, I've got a nice even layer. And then on the inside, so I'm just going to tuck that in. And this time I'm going to take it just up to that score line without touching that score line. Otherwise I'm going to have a double thickness of the black, which I don't want. A bit of excess glue there. Now before you attach these two then, you've got to think about your closure. So one way I was thinking about showing you was using the Cool Cats brad closures. So these are great, so you can just put one there and one there, and then put some magnets behind. But I'm going to do those brad closures with the circles instead. So I've got some nice brass ones which I thought went nice with these papers. And what you can do is just use your circle punches and cut out a black, then take a smaller punch and punch out your decorative paper. But if you've bought the Cool Cat envelope die, what we've got in there are circle dies with a hole in the centre. So these are excellent because you don't have to measure and everything. So the holes are already there. So I'm actually going to use my Cool Cats ones. So I've already cut out some of the black ones and some of my papers. And even the paper decorative one has got a hole in the middle, so they're really easy to line up. But if you haven't got these dies, what you can use is just your circle punches and just use a sharp instrument just to pierce a hole in the centre. But this just takes out that guesswork. So then for my closure, what I've cut are 3 black circles and 1 decorative. So what I've done is I've glued 2 of the single blacks together just for added strength. So that's actually a double. These are the singles. And then onto the double, I'm just going to attach my decorative one. Okay. Now, usually what you'd do now is pierce a hole in here and you'd have to line it up and get the brad behind and stuff. But I'm going to show you the cheat method. So imagine now you've gone ahead and you've rushed ahead and you've decorated your wallet. There you go. And you've put down your main piece, which you've only got the 1 sheet of, so you can't do it again. Your lovely leopard, not a tiger. Here he is. And you've forgotten your closure. We don't have to worry, because what I'm going to do is take my double and put my brad through there. I'm just going to squeeze him flat. Then I'm going to take my single one and feed him on. Okay. And then open up I think I've chosen a brad which has only got the 1 leg. Yeah, I have. So let's do it again. So through the one with the double. Oh, well, that's got 2 legs this time. And then through that single one. And then just separate them. So what I've got now is this bit in the middle which is not attached. So I'm just going to separate them a little bit like that. I'm going to take my double-sided tape. Put my double-sided tape on the back. So that's going to hold it for now, but I wouldn't trust that as a closure, so I'm going to add some glue on top of it as well, just to make sure. And I'm going to stick this now in the middle. So let me just grab my ruler. So, right round. So it's 9 inches, so 4.5 is here. So I'm going to keep it below my wording. But normally I would put it in the middle. And I'm just going to press it down. So I'm in between the 2 and the 1 here. So my scoring tool is getting in between the 2 of them. So I'm creating a space there. So if you've forgotten to put your closure on, this is a great cheat method. Then I've just got some 1mm waxed thread, and it just goes in between there. and I like to tie it up twice. And take my snips. There we go. And now I'm going to wrap the cord around and back in, and then however long you want it to be towards the end. And you could just leave it like that. But again, I've taken some circle punches and I've cut 2 black and 2 decorative papers. So I'm just going to glue the paper onto my circle. You can see the black was just a little bit bigger. Nearly lost him then, he's so well camouflaged. So these circles are just cut out of the waste from the box lid I made. So I had those little pieces left over from when I mitered off the corners. So I've just used that to cut these. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the tape again because this will hold things for now. Just a couple of small squares. Let's put him in the middle. And again, I don't trust just the tape, so I'm going to add some of my glue as well. But I'm still going to put the tape here to hold that thread in place for now. There we are. And there we have our first photo wallet for the Amazonia box. Ready to go. So you may not have seen yet, but I have figured out which paper I'm using on the lid. So there we go. Fits in nicely into the box. I think I might even use him as the top so that he's looking through there. And that's all it is then. To open it up, you're just going to unwind it. Open it up, you get that lovely leopard print. Love the tribal pattern as well. And especially liking the leopard. And as you can see how I managed to work on my measurements to get the wording and to centralize him nicely there. So definitely a wallet which made the most out of my papers. I like how it turned out. I like the nice bold image there. So there's our first photo wallet done. So I'll leave you go and make your own now, and hopefully you'll come back and watch the next one. So see you again soon.